Chapter 1 of the Essentials Principles of Management will tackle about the manager's job. And the purpose is to provide an overview of the nature of managerial work. It could argue that the entire chapter has a similar purpose, and it is therefore necessary to touch upon topics in this chapter that are covered again in the latter part of the book. Now, the chapter provides information on the topics such as the meaning of what is a manager, and then an overview of the process of management, and the discussion of the roles, and the summary of major developments in the evolution of management thoughts. The objectives, the learning objectives, will explain what the term manager means and identify the different types of manager. It will also describe the process of management, including its function. It will also describe the various managerial roles, the basic managerial skills that are needed, and understand how they can be developed. And then identify the major development in the evolution of management thought. Now, first we define what is a manager and who is a manager. A manager is the person responsible for work performance of a group members that's it. And he or she has a formal authority to commit organizational resources. Management is the process of using organizational resources to achieve organizational objectives through the functions of the pillars of management, which is the planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Now, then the levels of management. So we try to assess. So there are, number one, the top level managers. Now, the top level managers or executives that we know here are empowered to make major decisions. These decisions are affecting the present and the future of the firm. Now, the C-level manager is a recent term to describe top-level managers because they usually have chief in their title. So C-level, not chief, considered. And about 1% of the jobs in organization are truly executive positions. Now, a few of the recent C-level positions often found in large organizations. So there's the chief of staff, there's the chief commercial officer, there's the chief privacy officer, and so on and so forth. Now, next is the middle level managers. So who are these? The middle level managers are the layer between the top and the first level managers. And much of their work involves the coordination of work and the dissemination of information. And middle management jobs have declined in numbers as many organizations have this activity of downsizing, but they still play a major role in operations of the business. Now, next is the first level managers. So who are these? So these are supervisors. They supervise operatives and as referred to as the first level managers or supervisors, as I said a while ago. Now, supervisory jobs have been upgraded in many organizations. So, as a result, it reduces the number of layers of management. So, it's cost efficient even. And the decision process is very much easier. Now, the current emphasis on the productivity and cost control has also upgraded the supervisory role. So, it's an added function for them. But it's a good one because they will be exposed to a lot of decision-making process. And then the vast majority of you students or the students that are taking this course have a one-time reported to a first-level manager, especially the graduate schools. Now, we assess the top types of managers. Who are these? Managerial job can be divided into functional and general managers, administrators, entrepreneurs, and small business owners, and team leaders. Okay, so these are the types of managers. Now we assess. Number one is the functional and general managers. The functional managers supervise the work of employees, engage in specialized activities such as an accounting and quality control. And these managers are responsible for the work of several different groups performing a variety of functions. Company presidents and division heads are general managers, and their key tasks of general managers include shaping the work environment and crafting a strategic vision. Next is administrators. An administrator is a manager who works in a public or non-profit organization, and that includes our institution, no, the educational institution, rather than in a business firm. No? So there, and then the fact that individual contributors in non-profit organizations are sometimes referred to as administrators, and often causes confusion. Okay. Yeah, so again, so major characteristic of both entrepreneurs is, yeah, and small business owners, if I may repeat, is their passion for their work. Okay, so there, so the engagement, the dedication, the passion into doing things. Now, the recent research has identified three roles or activities within entrepreneurial work that arouse passion. So, what are these? Opportunity recognition, venture creation, and venture growth. So these are the three, these are the three roles, no, or activities within entrepreneurial work. Okay. Now we go to team leaders. Uh, the team leaders are actually coordinates the work of a small group of people while acting as a facilitator and catalyst. Now, team leaders are found at many organizational levels and are also referred to as project managers, process managers, and task force leaders. So, there, no. Again, these are another term for them: project managers, process managers, and task force leaders. All of the managerial jobs described a while ago vary considerably, on the demands placed on the job holder, such as some CEO jobs more demanding and stressful than the others. So there's this disparity amongst them. Okay. Now we go to the process of management. So what are the process of management? So managerial work can be regarded as a process, and it is a series of actions that brings about a goal to achieve that objective. The manager uses resources and carries out the four managerial functions. Okay? Now, we go the resources now used by managers. Now, managers use four types of resources. So, who are these and what are these? Number one is human resources. No, human resources. The human resources are the employees needed to get the job done. So, it is important function of the human resource, to look for skilled, educated, and qualified people to work under the government, under the organization. The second resources is the financial resources. Any money used by the organization is classified as financial resources. Now, the physical resources also is used by the manager. So, the physical resources are the the firms, that being used, firms, tangible goods and real estate, facilities, raw materials, office space, production facilities, office equipment, and vehicles are transportation. So these are part of the physical resources. Now another one is the information resources. So these are data, research, data used to accomplish the jobs and as classified as information resources. So there, so all of these information, data, researches are part of it. Now we go to the four managerial functions. So what are these? So the classical or standard functions of management remain a useful way of understanding management. Now, so what are these? So a while ago we talked about the four pillars, the four functions of management. So these are the four managerial functions. Number one is planning. So these are the very basic factors. Planning involves setting goals and figuring out ways of reaching them. And planning also is the central function of management. We plan, we set the future, we set the groundwork, and then after that, planning, uh, after the planning, organizing and staffing. Now, organizing and staffing is the process of making sure the necessary human and physical resources are available to carry out the plan and then achieve organizational goals. And then staffing involves ensuring that there are the necessary human resources to achieve, again, the organizational goals. Now, hiring is a typical staffing activity. Uh, Organizing and staffing is now often referred to as talent management. No, okay, so the HRD that we know of before. Now, next is under the four pillar or the four managerial functions is leading. Now, leading is the managerial function of influencing others. Influencing to achieve organizational objectives. Now, leadership is the interpersonal aspect of management that is according to Henry Mintzberg. And effective leaders develop the sense of community or share purpose that is essential for cooperative effort in an organization. And leaders also execute. Okay, controlling is number 4. Now, controlling is the managerial function of ensuring that performance conforms to plans. Controlling involves comparing actual performance to a predetermined standard. Now, computerized controls are widely used right now, so it's very easy for monitoring purposes. Now, managerial level influences how much time managers spend on the 4 managerial functions. Now, executives spend more time on strategic planning, on the high level and long range planning than to middle or first level managers. Now, the first level managers spend the most time in face-to-face leadership of employees. Okay? So again, the 4 managerial functions are planning, organizing and staffing, leading, controlling. Okay. Now we go to the 17 rather, managerial roles. Now, as you can just imagine, the number 17, managerial role. Now, a role is expected set of activities or behavior stemming from one's job. Now, roles are another important way of understanding what a manager do. No? So, as a managerial work. Planning. The 2 planning roles are strategic. Again, I've said earlier that long range and high level. Planner and operational day-by-day planner. Okay, so that's one role. Another role of a manager is organizing and staffing. Now, 5 roles fit the organizing function. So what are these? Organizer, liaison, staffing coordinator, resource allocator, and task delegator. Now, talent management is included in the organizing and staffing roles. Next is leading. 8 roles are part of the leadership function. So what are these? Motivator and coach, figurehead, spokesperson, negotiator, team player, team builder, technical problem solver, and entrepreneur. So that is leading. Next is controlling. The monitoring role is virtually identical to controlling. The disturbance handler role can also be classified as controlling role because it brings the disruptions back in line. Now, managerial roles currently emphasized. That's another. So, managerial work has shifted substantially away from the controller and the director role to that of a coach, facilitator, and supporter. So, many managers today work as partners with team members to jointly achieve results. Now, the influence of management level on managerial roles is another one. No? So, the manager level of responsibility influences which roles he or she is likely to engage in most frequently. For example, the most important roles for top-level managers are liaison, spokesperson, figurehead, and strategic partner, or planner rather. Next is management as a practice. Management is more of a practice than a science or profession. Managers sometimes make use of systematic knowledge, yet they also rely on the intuition that stems from experience. And management is not a profession in the sense of being a licensed occupation, such as law, medicine, or electrician. Another point of view is that to gain public trust, management needs to become a profession that follows an ethical code. Now, management could become more professional or professionalized with the use of evidence-based management. Now, the systematic use of the best available evidence to improve managerial practice. Now, to use this approach, managers should or would rely on both scientific evidence as well as local business evidences. The 5 managerial skills are, and now, why? Now, to be effective managers needs to possess technical, interpersonal, conceptual, diagnostic, and political skills. Now, technical skills now in particular. Technical skill involve an understanding of a proficiency in a specific activity that involves methods, processes, procedures, or techniques. And budget preparation is an example of a technical skill. Next is interpersonal skill. Interpersonal or human relations skill is the manager's ability to work effectively as a team member and to build cooperative effort in a given unit. Now, communication skills are an example of an important interpersonal skill. An important subset of interpersonal skill for managers is multiculturalism, or the ability to work effectively and conduct business with people from different cultures. Now, many managers at all levels ultimately fail because their interpersonal skills are not good enough for the demand of the job. Okay. The conceptual skills, no? So, is the ability to see the organization as a total entity. The big picture. Strategic planning requires conceptual skill. And the need for conceptual skill continues to grow and dynamic. Keeps on changing. Okay? Now, a manager should also be has a diagnostic skill. It involves investigating a problem and then choosing a course of action to solve it. A manager should have also a political skill. It is the ability to acquire the power necessary to reach objectives. And managers high in political skills possess a keen sense of astuteness and understanding of people. Negotiating and forming alliances are very good examples of a political skills. Now, political skill should be regarded as a supplement to job competence and other basic skills. Okay? Development of managerial skill. Now, experience and education, including formal training, are both important for the development of a managerial skills. Now, you can learn managerial concept from a book or lecture like this, and then apply them using the general learning. Now, there's a lot of models to work on for you to be able to understand the general learning of models. Now, conceptual information is one, and behavioral guidelines. Number 2 is conceptual information demonstrated by examples. Number 3, skills development exercises. And number 4 is the feedback on skill utilization or performance from others. And then 5, the frequent practice of what you have learned, including making adjustment from feedbacks. See, okay, and assessment from the others and evaluation. So that is part of the development of possessing a management skills. Now, what is an evolution of management thoughts? Okay, so a bit background. No? So, okay, the management as a practice has almost unlimited history. As a formal study, management began in the 70s. No? I'm sorry, in the 1700s. So way back centuries. Now, and part of the Industrial Revolution. Now, we start from the classical approach to management. The classical approach to management encompasses scientific management and administrative management. To focus of scientific management was on the application of scientific methods to increase individual workers' productivity. Now, administrative management was concerned primarily with how organizations should be managed and structured. One of the key contributions of the classical school has been to study management from the framework of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, which we have mentioned earlier. And Alfred D. Chandler, J., the Harvard University business historian, was a key figure in promoting the importance of the classical approach to management. Now, his famous thesis is that firm's structure is determined or chosen by its strategy. Otherwise, the firm becomes inefficient. Next is the behavioral approach. The behavioral approach to management emphasizes improving management through the psychological makeup of people. The theme of the behavioral or human resources approach is to focus on understanding people. Now, there are three direct cornerstones of the human resources approach who are the expert in their field. No? So these are Hotend Studies, the theory X and the theory Y, and the Maslow's need hierarchy. Now we go to the Hotend Studies. Now, Hotend Studies where workers in the Hotend experiments reacted positively because management cared about them. The Hotend effect is the tendency of people to behave differently when they receive attention and care because they respond to the demands of the situation. The theory X and the theory Y of Douglas MacGregor, however, is a set of traditional assumptions about people. Managers who hold these assumptions are pessimistic about workers. They're pessimistic about workers' capability of doing their work. They believe that workers dislike their work and seek to avoid responsibility and are not ambitious and must be supervised closely. However, theory Y is a contradictory. No, it's a positive note. No, so theory Y is an alternative and optimistic set of assumptions. So wherein theory X connotes a negative connotation, so theory Y is giving out a positive note connotation. Now we go to Maslow needs of hierarchy. Now Maslow need hierarchy. Now Maslow suggested that humans are motivated by efforts to satisfy a hierarchy of needs. It ranging from the needs to those for self-actualization, ranging from basic needs to the self-actualization even, or reaching one's highest potentials. Now, the need hierarchy prompted managers to think about ways of satisfying a wide range of workers' needs to keep them motivated. Okay, so that's Maslow's. Now, another one is the quantitative approach to management. The quantitative approach to management is a group of methods to managerial decision-making process, and that is based on the scientific method. So frequently, tools and techniques of the quantitative approach include statistics, linear programming, techniques or analysis, decision trees, and computer simulations. It is Frederick Taylor's work that provided us the foundation for the quantitative approach to management. However, operations research stemming from the World War II is the true beginning of quantitative approaches to management, where efficiency and the systematic methods should be introduced for production efficiency. Now, another one is the systems perspective. It is a way of viewing problems more than a specific approach to management. The system perspective is based on the concept that an organization is a system or an entity of interrelated parts. If you adjust one part of the system, other parts will be affected automatically. From a systems viewpoint, the organization also interacts with outside world, transforming inputs such as money and material, transforming them into outputs such as products and services. Now, the two systems concept are important. Entropy is the tendency of a system to run down and die if it does not receive fresh fruits or inputs from its environment. Synergy means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So, two words, entropy, tendency of a system to run down and die if not receive fresh inputs, while synergy means the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay? Entropy and synergy. Now, next is the contingency approach. It emphasizes that there is no one best way to manage people or work. These methods leads to high productivity or morale in one situation, may not achieve the same result in another. So the contingency approach is derived from the study of leadership and organization structures. That is, common sense also contributes heavily to the contingency approach. Common sense. Now, next is the information technology era and beyond. Now, the information technology, it begins in the 1950s with data processing. So by the late 1980s, the impact of information technology and the internet began to influence how managers manage work and people. Now, two economists report that the impact of the internet on business is similar to the impact of electricity at the beginning of the 20th century, from darkness to light. Now, from slow manual process to information technology, clouds, data, internet and everything. And the history of management is being written each year, in the sense that the practice of management continues to evolve. An example of a leading edge approach to management is evidence-based management, whereby managers translate principles based on best evidence into management practices, as we have discussed and described above. Okay, so there, I have, thank you very much for listening and watching this video for the understanding of the basic introduction to management principles. Okay, see you again in the next chapter, and looking forward for a good day ahead of us. Good day.